Vince Zampella, Grant Collier, and Jason West. Originally a part of the team that created Medal of Honor Allied Assault, they were hired by video game publisher Activision to create a new first-person shooter IP to compete with EA's Medal of Honor series. This became the birth of Infinity Ward to develop what's now known as one of the biggest video game franchises in history, Call of Duty. Call of Duty made its debut on October 23, 2003, selling an estimated total of 790,000 copies by August of 2006, making it the 8th best-selling video game of 2003. Originally released for the PC, Infinity Ward wouldn't make their console debut until 2005 for the official sequel Call of Duty 2 on the Xbox 360. Ever since Call of Duty made its debut in 2003, for years they've been known for bringing players into their depiction of World War II. It was not until 2007 when Infinity Ward would change the first-person shooter franchise forever, with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Call of Duty for me was one of the IPs that, when playing the campaign and kicking ass, makes you think that you are the best in the world, until online multiplayer became way more popular with 7th Gen, made me realize just how crap I actually am compared to the rest of the world, and how much I needed to practice in order to keep up with everyone else. I was first introduced to Call of Duty with Big Red 1 on the PlayStation 2. I didn't get my first 7th Gen console until 2008 with the PlayStation 3. This was my introduction to online gaming, and boy did my world in video games change forever from that point on. I met some of the coolest people on there when playing games such as Grand Theft Auto 4 or Midnight Club Los Angeles. I had completely all forgotten about Call of Duty until I remember going into class in the 8th grade and someone bringing up the new installment, Modern Warfare 2. This caught my attention as this would be my way to get back into the franchise and play a new video game with these total strangers that I called friends on the PlayStation Network. This was the game to play, so I didn't even think about getting the previous installment. I just jumped straight into this one. I played the campaign, had no idea who these characters were and why they were so important to the plot. All I know is that the world is in chaos, you shoot up an airport, you get betrayed and set on fire, and then throw a knife at the end. And even with not knowing anything from Call of Duty 4, I still enjoyed the living hell out of it. Modern Warfare 2's online multiplayer changed so much for me in terms of how I approached video games moving forward. It made me realize that the most important rule in all of gaming is patience. While yes, video games even before Modern Warfare 2 were certainly difficult, I primarily played single-player games where you could learn and adapt to set patterns and anticipate enemy attacks. Online multiplayer in an FPS was a different beast because not everyone plays the same. There wasn't a way for me to, at least at the time, know what to expect people to do. If someone was going to be aggressive and attack aimlessly, or if they were reserved and took their time. Also keep in mind, this was years before skill-based matchmaking was also a thing. So I was being put in games with people that either no-lifed the game or completely sucked, or both. It was a roller coaster of emotions, and I was getting put through boot camp. I'll never forget the times I had with my friends on maps like Favela or Terminal, finding ways to glitch the map or get to harder reach places like the roof on High Rise, or playing up our own made up games like Michael Myers that was popular in the Call of Duty community. But we'll get to that later. I would like to confidently say that I am a lot better now at playing first-person shooters, but even today, gaming keeps evolving and the player base just keeps growing with new generations, finding all sorts of ways to be the best. Not even with just Call of Duty, but across the board. This to me is why I feel Call of Duty and Modern Warfare specifically changed the gaming industry. In honor of this, I am going to be going through each and one of the games with you today, talking about the campaigns and the multiplayer and other game modes that were along with it, and see how well they have aged after all of these years. So sit back, relax, as we dive headfirst into the game that started it all. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Go easy on him, sir. It's his first day in the regiment.
Right. What the hell kind of name is Soap, eh? How'd a muppet like you pass selection?
Released on November 5th, 2007, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was launched on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. A port of the game was later released in 2009 as Modern Warfare Reflex Edition on the Nintendo Wii. I never played the Wii version, so perhaps one day when I want to discuss weird ports from big franchises, I might bring this up in a future video. This was also the first Call of Duty entry to not see a release for the 6th generation. However, we would see one last hurrah from Call of Duty in Treyarch's World at War on the PlayStation 2. Steering away from the World War II setting, Infinity Ward wanted to avoid bringing up any mentions of real-life wars going on in the real world and opted for a fictional tale about men at war in the Middle East. Okay, maybe it's not all that too fictional, but it wasn't about a specific war. Now, throughout the campaign, just like in previous entries of Call of Duty, you will be playing the roles of different characters. Call of Duty 4's campaign can take roughly 7 hours to beat, and I absolutely loved every bit of it. I love that in this story you play as the famous character Soap, whom of which didn't even have a voice yet until the sequel. Captain Price is an all-time classic as well, with his brooding personality and zero tolerance for bullshit. I wasn't there to experience the mind-blowing experience that was the nuke going off and killing everyone, but I can only imagine what that was like for the first time for new players when this came out in 2007, shocking the gaming world like that. I really enjoyed the stealth missions early in the campaign and wish a lot of games were more like this. Makes me want to go and see how I might enjoy the Splinter Cell games, seeing how I haven't really played that series much myself. Now, Call of Duty 4 did not feature a Spec Ops mode like the franchise would later implement in later Modern Warfare titles. All you had left to do moving forward after beating the game was enjoy the widely expanded upon online multiplayer. There is an arcade mode, but I didn't get around time to actually play that mode, so we're just going to be talking about the multiplayer here today. Now, when attempting to play this game on PlayStation 3, trying to find matches were pretty difficult. Nobody really goes back to this game, at least on PlayStation 3, and that really boils down to the fact that Sony just refuses to implement backwards compatibility, so people aren't really going back into their closet to pull out their PS3s just to play this one game. While at least on Xbox, all you need to do is, if you own the game, is to just pop it in your current gen Xbox. Simple as that. Way more inviting for players to go back and re-experience these games because of simple convenience. Granted, people always do have the remaster that they can go back to also, so that can always play a part in why these lobbies may be dying. The lobbies grew back up a bit when Microsoft acquired Activision and decided to fix the servers, which gained a resurgence of players coming back to the older titles. So that was a big W for Microsoft until they decided to lay off like 2,000 people after buying them out.
Fuck Microsoft!
So with any Call of Duty, you start off with being able to choose up to 3 default classes while unlocking 2 more to help you get to level 4, which is when you get to create custom classes. You get a primary weapon, sidearm, and a special grenade, and 3 perks to choose from that help you in combat. Now, when going through creating a class, I was dumbfounded to find that being able to use RPGs actually took up a perk slot, so you couldn't just have this at all times as a secondary like you could in later titles. They really need to bring this back because some people should really be penalized in some way for resorting to cheap tactics to win, but that's just me. You start off with primaries that allow you to choose what kind of player you want to be, from assault rifles with the M16 or AK-47 to submachine guns like the MP5 or Scorpion, or more powerful artillery with the LMGs like the M249 SAW or RPD. Shotgun only has 1 weapon at the start with a pump action W1200, same with the snipers with the M40A3. You will need to level up in order to access different weapons. Attachments for your guns are unlocked by beating challenges for specific weapons you wish to upgrade. You can find these challenges by going to the barracks menu, where you can find your stats and how well you are doing among other players across the world or your friends. What I also found interesting, that using attachments like the grenade launcher on your primary takes up a perk slot as well if equipped. Like I said before, I think things like this could do well for a return in newer Call of Duty games. Your sidearm was just the choice of your favorite pistol, and as they say in the campaign, switching to your sidearm is a way quicker decision to make than simply just waiting for your gun to reload. With a lot of the earlier games in the Call of Duty franchise, I always made fun of the fact that the so-called soldiers who go through vigorous training can't seem to keep running for no more than 5 seconds in total before running out of breath. So they added a perk which allows you to sprint for a longer period of time. While I am happy that this is a perk to utilize, this shouldn't be a thing on the sole fact that these men should be able to run way longer than this anyway to begin with. I am so happy that they got rid of this in the more recent titles of Call of Duty. There is also a thing that would later be known in the franchise as death streaks, where if you keep dying multiple times in a row, you get special perks that can help you, such as Martyrdom that drops a live grenade, or Last Stand which puts you on your back crawling with nothing but a pistol. You want to know what was mind-blowing to me though? That there isn't a menu to adjust your kill streaks, because this was the first game to introduce kill streaks, and there was only 3 of them: UAV, airstrike, and attack helicopter. This absolutely blew my mind. Like I said, I started with Modern Warfare 2, so to have such a bare bones version of this is crazy to me. I don't hate it honestly, because that really just amazes me. There is a total of 16 maps that are playable without any need for DLC, some of my favorites being Crash and District. You will be able to play on these maps throughout a variety of game modes such as Classic Team Deathmatch, Free-for-all, Domination, Ground War, where it increases the player counts in a single lobby, and the ever popular Search and Destroy. I never really played Search and Destroy because I would hate being the reason why our team lost a match. You also have the hardcore modes where your HUD is gone, friendly fire is turned on, and time to kill is way faster. Time to kill in general and regular matches are fine as they are, but in hardcore it just takes a bullet or 2 to kill you. It can be fun, and I do enjoy playing these game modes from time to time, but nothing beats just going into a game of team deathmatch and talking trash to the other team in lobbies. This was back when lobbies stayed together and never disbanded after every game like they do in newer entries of the series, which is such a huge disappointment. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare provided a lot of things to do when it released. It is a classic through and through. I don't hold much nostalgia with this title like I do with others, but Call of Duty in general, especially in this era, is a fun time to go back and play some matches with friends.
Remember, no rush.
It has been 5 years since the events of the first game. Russia has turned Zakhaev into a martyr, and now his former lieutenant Vladimir Makarov has been performing acts of terrorism upon Europe. When playing the campaign for Modern Warfare 2, I had no idea how early on the no Russian mission was. Understand, it's been years since I played this game, so to get to that mission so early in the campaign was a bit shocking to me. I loved the introduction to Ghost's character, even though he does die as a result of General Shepard betraying you for his own personal gain. He did essentially get the Boba Fett treatment and became way more popular over time just because of how cool he looked in his outfit and the shock value of him being killed by Shepard, which really amped that up too. Soap getting his own voice actor this time around, since you don't play as him until the last mission, was really dope to see also. His missions in the favela were really intense, and it just felt like you kept getting cornered by everyone. At least when you're done with those missions, you would swap back to playing as Ramirez alongside Sergeant Foley, which was voiced by the ever so talented Keith David. Another tidbit that I thought was very interesting, that the Overlord that you would hear on your comms with the missions with Sergeant Foley is the same voice actor who then goes on to play as the new General Shepard in the current Modern Warfare reboot. I just thought that that was really interesting. Seeing the return of Captain Price was also awesome, as he is mentioned as one of Makarov's worst enemies. I really enjoyed Modern Warfare 2's campaign a lot. There were certainly some really fun missions that you got to do, like the snowmobile escape, Whiskey Hotel with no red dot, and securing Burger Town. It's definitely a lot shorter in comparison to the first story, which was a big thing that people talked about when it first released, and how you could beat it roughly within 6 hours, which for games of this magnitude is pretty short, but still fun nonetheless. All that really did though was leave you wanting more, which you can do so with the newly added feature of Spec Ops, which was really Infinity Ward's way of adding more content besides just doing multiplayer, as Treyarch had zombies from World at War the year prior. Spec Ops is playable either single player or with a friend. In order to progress through the levels, you must earn stars given to you depending on which difficulty you play these missions on. Now, there are some missions where you need to play them with a friend as it is required in order to complete the level. I'm not really a big fan of that because at least with zombies, you can play them by yourself all the time. Granted, it is certainly easier with friends, but the choice is there nonetheless. Besides that, however, the missions are still fun and a way to keep playing the game after beating the campaign. Now, the online multiplayer is where the real fun begins. Again, bringing back 16 original maps for us to play on, along with all the classic modes to play on, including some new ones like being able to play in third-person mode. They really expanded on the things that you could also do in create a class. This time around, shotguns, rocket launchers, and machine pistols have been added as secondaries now. You can actually switch out grenades for things such as sticky grenades, throwing knives, tactical insertion, where you can choose your spawn location, which will never be abused, blast shields, claymores, and C4. Death Streak is now its own thing where, besides Martyrdom or Final Stand, you can choose Copycat to steal your killer's class and when watching the kill cam, or Painkiller, which gives you a big health boost when you spawn back. New perks have been added as well, like Ninja, which hides the sound of your footsteps, which I personally like to use the most. Then you have things like Bling that allows you to have 2 primary weapons instead of the usual sidearm. Then you have the infamous one-man army where you can swap between classes at any given time, which we all know never got abused. Modern Warfare 2, unlike the first entry, finally gives you the choice of which kill streak you would like to use. You have things from counter UAVs, Predator missiles, chopper gunner, AC-130s, or if you were good enough to get 25 kills without dying, you could unlock the tactical nuke, killing everyone in the match and ending the game early. I was never good enough to get a nuke at this time. I'd like to believe that if the servers were back at perfect health and enough people played it again, that I could potentially get it. It's a lot tougher now in current Call of Duty games because not only do you need to get 30 kills this time around, but your kills from your kill streaks are no longer added to that total, which is BS to me, honestly. Granted, that was the best way to get a nuke in Modern Warfare 2, your kill streaks would be a big help in that factor. I'm not a big fan that RPGs can be a secondary now, but I love the inclusion of the Stinger as that can help bring down enemy helicopters or UAVs. Because even if you sucked at the game, you could still be a big help and take down those annoying things. The only drawback is that once you run out of ammo with your primary, you are kinda screwed until you can pick up someone else's gun. But using a Stinger can be so much fun because you just know someone on the other team is getting pissed that you keep shooting down their UAVs. I know I forgot to mention this earlier, but map voting is so nice to be able to use. I don't know why they felt the need to remove this as a feature in their future titles. I will say that maps like High Rise, Terminal, and Afghan were among my favorites, while maps such as Wasteland, Derail, and Scrapyard were some of the lows when it came to map selection for me personally. Wasteland especially because that is just sniper heaven for some players. Derail is kind of the same, but at least there are some obstacles in the way to protect you from snipers. One thing I miss playing with a bunch of friends is going into a private lobby and playing a game called Michael Myers, where it is essentially hide and seek. One person is on their own team and the rest go and hide. Nobody's allowed to kill Michael Myers until the last minute of the game. Whoever is the last to be killed or kill Michael is the Michael Myers for the next round. I loved playing this back in the day with my friends, and I still find ways to play this with current Call of Duty titles when I can. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 for me will always go down as one of my top 10 favorite video games of all time. It holds a lot of nostalgia and a special place in my heart. Now, we are going to be moving on to the next and final entry of the Modern Warfare trilogy, where this actually became the last Call of Duty I would play and fall off the franchise for a long time. And with that, we enter Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
Birds! Look, Mommy, there's birds! That's your daughter. You know she gets that from you.
We start the campaign right where we left off with Soap getting medical attention. In the midst of all of the carnage going on in the world caused by Makarov, we are brought to New York City as Delta Force to bring down a jamming tower that is stopping communications. We play this position in Delta Force with the soldier known as Sergeant Derek Westbrook, aka Frost. It was at this moment for me where I knew that this game was going to be way more action-packed than the last one. This campaign really felt like you were included in an action movie. Blood pumping and adrenaline-fueled action from top to bottom. I was hooked from the start and I couldn't put down the controller. After going through one hell of a journey, blasting your way through villages, taking out a warlord, watching the Eiffel Tower collapse, they can get a new one, watching the passing of the awesome Soap McTavish take his last breath, and saving the president of Russia. With some time, the president of Russia finally makes terms with the United States, ending World War III. 3 months go by and Captain Price finds Makarov's location in a hotel on the Arabian Peninsula. Peninsula. You now get to control Captain Price alongside Yuri, getting into full body armor and storm the building, killing everyone inside. You make it to the top where it is blown by a rocket, pinning Yuri down. He demands that you leave him behind to not let Makarov escape. By doing so, you jump onto his helicopter, killing the pilots and crashing back down onto the hotel. Makarov makes it out of the rubble and just before killing you is shot by Yuri in the shoulder. Makarov ends up killing Yuri, but you take this opportunity to tackle him, tie a cable around his throat, and crashing through the glass roof, hanging Makarov, killing him for good. You take a puff of your cigar, and that, my friends, concludes the story of the epic journey of Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare 3 felt like a goddamn movie. Every mission felt like something absolutely insane happened and was the end of the world, which it should. This is the climax of a 3 video game story about World War III. Now, I don't know how the next installments in Infinity Ward's lineup fare compared to these games like Advanced Warfare or Infinite Warfare. I am looking forward to playing them and seeing what they are like, but I'll tell you, it's gonna be tough to top this. They bring back Spec Ops once again, only this time you can match up with other players without needing to have your friends of your own to join you. And instead of needing to earn stars in order to progress, you need to level up to unlock more levels. I like this as it adds another sense of progression, which is always great. They bring us a total of 16 missions to complete, and this is amazing because I love that there is so much more content available after getting through the campaign on top of the online multiplayer. Speaking of which, the multiplayer right now in 2024 is not the greatest. Just like all the other entries, you got people hacking lobbies to max your rank and so forth. The only game mode people really are playing is Team Deathmatch, which is fine with me because that's really the only game mode I really care about. However, when it came to Modern Warfare 3, came new features. Shotguns are no longer secondary weapons, which is always great to see. They added a bunch of new assault rifles to the game such as CM901, G36C, the MK14, Type 95, and the FAD. I'm a SCAR L player myself and then like to jump to the ACR when I have it unlocked. A big addition to this game was the inclusion of what's called proficiencies. You can select from a number of options to help you in combat, such as kick that reduces recoil, impacts that carries more damage through materials, attachments that give you up to 2 attachments on your primary now, focus that reduces flinch when hit, breath that allows you to hold your breath when aiming down your sights, and stability, which reduces sway when aiming down your sights. I love that these options were included in the game as I felt it just added another element of how to build the right class for yourself. I didn't mention this earlier, but I really do miss when silencers actually meant something back then as it kept your red dot hidden from other players. Now it's pretty much pointless and all it does for you is just help with recoil. You can level up to 80 now to prestige on like 70 from Modern Warfare 2. You have a thing called strike packages now, which is very interesting. Assault gives you kill streaks that are on the offensive side of things like Predator missiles, attack helicopters, or AC-130s. Support is more defensive and aids your team with things such as counter UAVs, EMPs, or SAM turrets, and your kill streaks don't reset after you die either. Specialists allow you to unlock perks on top of your current perks that you already have equipped. Death streaks also added new additions such as Juice that allows you to move faster for a few seconds after spawning, Revenge which lets you see the position of the last player that you killed, which I think is pretty cool, Dead Man's Hand, almost like Martyrdom, pulls out C4 before your death, and hollow points increases the bullet damage for 1 kill. A new lethal has been added, Bouncing Betty, which is a bomb that you see in Modern Warfare 2 right before. Tactical adds new additions like a scrambler that deploys a jammer to interrupt enemy radar, EMP grenades, a trophy system that detonates any bomb or rocket when it gets in range, and a portable radar that detects enemies when near it. Modern Warfare 3 also had a lot of memorable maps such as Dome, Resistance, and Bootleg. Now Modern Warfare 3 also had one last mode that you can play, which was called Survival, that you had to beat the campaign on Hardened to unlock. I didn't have it unlocked for this review, but I do remember this being a very fun experience with friends, and I wish that this had been available on day one with the recent Modern Warfare games on Xbox, but you know, we got stiffed out of that one. I will say that after Modern Warfare 3, I did fall off the series and move on to other franchises like Battlefield, which held my interest for years, replacing Call of Duty for a long while. It wasn't until I got an Xbox One that I decided to get back into Call of Duty with World War II. I will certainly talk about that game in the near future, so definitely be on the lookout for that. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and my breakdown of the Modern Warfare trilogy. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, thumbs up. Do whatever you guys can to support this channel. Let me know which Call of Duty game is your favorite from the franchise in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys next time in my next video. Peace out.